Hi, welcome to Write More Late. My name is Sarah with Midwest Writing Center, and this is a show where we talk about art. Um, if you are not familiar with the show, you are fortunate today is an interview day. You don't have to listen to me talk for an hour about a very specific part of writing. Um, Today, I am delighted. I cannot understate that. I'll talk about it a little more. Um, to have author Trisha Maxine with us. Trisha has loved books and writing her entire life. Seeing her book, Sliding Across Mountains, which is her debut novel, on bookshelves and libraries has been a dream come true. It recently won the Christ Lit Book Award in London. No big deal. By day, she works in assessment in the School of Education at Ambrose, as well as she's currently working on her creative writing degree. Same. Uh, she very kindly gives credit to the Midwest Writing Center for helping her with this. Um, I'm so Trisha's on is in our Legacy Society, and I didn't meet her till summer 2 summers ago, I think, which is crazy.
So,
I've been with the Writing Center for I think this is my seventh year. I think I just had my seventh anniversary. Um, and no, that can't be right. Yes, I just don't know how math works. And I was like, how have I never met this person? Why isn't she in my life? And how do I get involved? Thankfully, um, being on the Legacy Society gave me access to her contact information. So thank you so much for hanging out with us today, Trisha.
oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Cool. Me too.
Yay.
Uh, I'm gonna start. Well, it's either a lowball question or it's like a really difficult question. I used to end with it, but I think it's more fun to start with the good stuff. How did you start writing?
Gosh, that is a low ball.
I know. It's either really hard or really easy.
Um, I think my first memory of me writing, my grandpa, I grew up on a farm, and my grandpa and grandma both loved to read. He was very into Sherlock Holmes, and she was very into the Bronte sisters. So we sat,
Those are really good, like different
yeah,
sides of, I don't know, they're different coins, I guess, but they're both really good.
yes, yes. So we would sit on the porch and they would read to me as a little tyke on the farm. And Grandpa would give me a notebook and crayons at the time I was little. And he'd say, "Go write a story." So I would run around the chicken coop or run around, the farm. And he said, "Go make up stories and come back and read them to me." So it was more like easy stuff, like seesaw run. I mean, I was little. And then as I grew up, it just stuck with me, just loved it.
I love that so much too because like a little bit he could have been like, get out of my face. Uh but it's what children do. You know, that's what playing pretend is.
Right.
So really he was like asking you to be a child. That's
Yeah.
really special.
And I was probably, I mean, I was writing, so 5, 6 in that range. And one of my favorite places to write, we had this huge hydrangea, like snowball bush is what I called them before. And it was just huge on the farm. And there was a space like inside the bush. So it was like a canopy. And I would love to sit in that bush and just write or color, make up stories. And
I can see that.
I
I
loved
can
it.
see it. What color were the hydrangeas? Were they white? Is that why you called it snowballs?
Yes.
That's such a
Yeah.
perfect image. I'm just imagining you, but like tiny. So
Yeah. A tiny version of me.
long hair, glasses, surrounded by
Yeah.
these puffball flowers. Oh,
Yes.
that's so
Yes.
precious.
That was
Uh,
me. And that's where it all began.
I can't handle it. That's like, I don't know, like a secret garden visual.
Yes.
Because you brought it up, who's your favorite Bronte sister?
Oh, I love Emily's poetry, but I have to say, I love Charlotte, her whole. And I just bought a t-shirt. It's Charlotte Bronte on a bike, and she's riding a bike. And it's like, yes, that's my quintessential t-shirt.
This is the dream.
This is a dream. Yeah, Charlotte Bronte on a bike. But yes, I love Emily's poetry. Kind of depends on the mood, you know.
There wasn't going to be a wrong answer. You
Yeah,
know,
I know. I
I
know.
I do love a good Anne fan because Anne fans are like rabid.
Yeah,
They're like really passionate about Anne.
right, right. But you have to give a nod to Jane Austen too, you know. I love her.
That is my girl. That is my
Yeah,
girl. I didn't read Jane Austen until I was like 25. My would-be spouse was like, "How have you never read Pride and Prejudice? It's hilarious." And I was like, "It can't be hilarious. There's no way."
right.
It's hilarious, as it turns out.
Yeah. Now, I just finished the book by Lucy Worsley. She just came out with that At Home with Jane Austen.
Hmm.
So, book recommendation. If you ask authors about their book list, that's mine.
I think that's such an intimidating question. I like will not ever ask it because first you ask me my favorite books and I've suddenly never heard of a book in my life. And then it's like, well, do I answer in a way that makes me look smart?
No,
Or like
you read
if
what
you
you
ask me what
like.
I'm reading right now, and what I'm reading right now is like I really it's not unlikely that I'm reading Percy Jackson, right? I'm not currently, but um I mean I'm reading for homework right now. But
Right.
I think it's just the scariest question. I know
It is scary.
I was in a I don't know, it was like 2021 and I was in a like online class with a bunch of people and one of my friends sent me a private message and she was like, "I hate icebreakers. They always make me feel so dumb." Because the writing class and the icebreakers are
Right.
always writing related. And I was like, "Man, that's true." Like I can tell you who my like literary heroes are, but also like if I'm having a bad day, that's not what I'm curling up with.
Right.
Yeah.
No, no, it's hard. It
That's why
depends on the
books are
mood.
cool.
Depends on the mood
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and the weather and all those things.
And like when you get into like a lull or like a dry spell with reading, and you're like not in the right place, that's a totally different book that you're gonna go for.
Oh yeah.
It's always YA for me.
That's the comfort.
Sometimes poetry, but that's different.
Different.
Because
Yes.
poetry, it's short, so it's like not intimidating.
Right. Right. But it's thought provoking. So then it gets you into reading.
Yeah, it gets the juices flowing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming alive right now. Thank you. I'll get back to the regularly scheduled programming. So you're currently getting your creative writing degree.
Yes.
Does that mean, and so I'm operating under the assumption that it does mean this, that you will say relatively recently decided to really focus on writing? And if so, how did that happen?
Um, Focus on writing. Mm, yes. My first degree, I'm retired in the medical field. So this is the first time I've had the opportunity to take the courses I want, now that I'm really focused. I retired to writing. So now that I'm at Ambrose, the English department is just down the hall. So I get to take classes and focus on English.
That's really special. I find that happens a lot where like we need a certain amount of we need to be in a certain place both mentally and like materially to be able to do
Yeah.
things that we're compelled
When
to
I
do.
was 18 and I first went to college, I started in poetry. And, at the time, I just didn't know if I could do it, pay the bills, all of that. So I'm like, I don't think it's the right time for me. And then I went to the medical profession and now I'm back stronger than ever. But I feel like at 50, when I hit that 50 mark, I'm like, you know what? I think I can do it now. So that's when it changed.
I have always, okay, I actually know exactly how this happened to me. When you're in elementary school, they have like children's authors come by or whatever. Uh, oh no, I'm gonna have to fact check myself here. Um, a a writer came to school and I learned that she was I'm fact checking myself and it's not working. I learned that she was like 52 or something. Okay, it was Nikki Grimes. I was right. Anyway, I learned that she was like 52 and I was like, that's clearly the most magical age. I gotta be 50. Now you know that about me.
That's fun.
Sorry for
No,
that.
I feel like I could relax into it. I've lived enough to write some things, and I don't know, I'm kind of relaxed about life now, and words kind of strung together easier.
I love that. How long ago? So I'm really excited to talk about your debut novel. I want to give it some shine. And so thinking about how you got into creative writing or became able to focus on it, not got into it. That was from baby years.
Right.
Um, how did you start the novel? Where did the idea come from? And then I'll ask, well,
Okay.
tell me in
Yeah,
that
well,
what it's
the
about.
novel started at the Midwest Writing Center. Yes, it did. I took, I was on the board at the time, and I took the novel writing workshop. It was a class offered through the Writing Center, and that's where I began my book. Yeah. Um, many years ago. It was like 10. And then, you know, I when you're in a 6-week class, a whole novel just doesn't happen. And then as I worked on it, it was in the desk drawer for a while. I pulled it out, rewrote it. Oh, I'm going to add this. Then I started getting into poetry. Then I'm going to add some more poetry to it. So the layers and layers and layers over the years with each rewrite, the story started to develop, as I learned more about characters and character development and dialogue. So as I learned more with each rewrite, the book became deeper, I think. So, and then I submitted it I finally got to the point I was happy with it. And then it took me a long time to find a home for it. So, when I did, it was just like, well, the time was right. All the planets aligned. And so,
And so did you already have an idea when you were taking the class?
um, I kind of did. I went in there having a general thought process. I was talking to a writing friend of mine, and she says, Trish, you just write the book you want to read. That's it.
Mhm.
And I'm like, there's not a whole lot of books. I love curling, the sport curling. I said, there's not a whole lot of books on curling. And I thought, I'm gonna write a. So it started off as kind of a sports book, and then I thought, this is kind of boring. It just the first write of it was kind of boring, and I thought, the big story here is the relationship between the characters in the book, the team. I said that's the story. It's not the sport. That's kind of an after fact. That's kind of how they got together, but it's the friendship that was made with the main characters. So, with I think two additional rewrites, that's where it really got developed, and that's where the story was, the support.
You mentioned excuse me, as you learned more about characters. I assume that you mean as you got to know your characters, or was it
Yeah,
learning about writing characters?
I think both. I took a class with Sally Johns through the Writing Center. It was the summer. Um, the summer retreat,
Hmm.
the workshop. And it was building characters. And I think it was the summer after I took the novel writing workshop. And I learned so much from that class on making the character more round and making the character more alive. So it was that, but then, it's like, oh, I'm going to add more detail to this character. I'm going to make her a little more quirky, or and add those things.
I always, so I'm never going to stop taking classes. I just think that's silly. Why would I?
Yeah,
Um,
right.
I know some people out there are like, well, I already have 3 books, so I don't need to learn anything, but I think we all have something to learn all the time.
Oh,
Um,
I'm learning so much from the classes I'm taking at Ambrose. And they're
I,
just, 190, I'm taking creative forms now. And gosh, I'm sitting in a class with 20-year-olds. I'm learning so much. Yeah.
I, I'm really glad you said that. I felt like kind of a jerk when I was saying that, but I mean it. I mean, there's always something to learn.
Oh, yeah.
And I find when I'm in because I'll take any class, I will. When I'm in a class and I think that I know everything, because sometimes I think that I know everything.
Right. It's
Um,
easy.
and then something hits and you're like, oh, I've been doing that wrong. Um,
Right.
I was I get to talk to a lot of authors. Um, and that's really why I sort of held on to the character question because that's something that I've that I'm sorry, I clear my throat a lot. It's not about anything. Um, it was one of those things where I was like, oh, that's what's wrong with my character. Okay. Um,
Right.
that's why that one stuck out to me. So
Yeah.
thank you for that. You said you did 3 rewrites?
Yeah. 3 total rewrites of it.
That seems good. That seems like a really good number. I'm
And it
so
only took like 5, 6 years before I, felt good enough for it to, let it go.
yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
it's never done. It's like a poem. There just comes a point where you have to release it. You could drive yourself crazy.
yeah, no, I do it all the time.
You just, okay, I'm done. You get that like mental click,
Hmm.
you're just like, okay, done. It's finally done.
I I apologize. I'm going to rewind a little bit, but we're going to come back to the novel. How many books have you written?
I have 4 poetry books, chapbooks, and then this is my first novel.
Thank you. I have often said my favorite prose is by poets, and uh, now you know that.
Well, that's how I came to prose. I mean, I've been really focusing on poetry, and I think it really helped me. Um, um, what's the word? Condense the verbiage. Really focus on the words.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the trick, right? You really learn the power and weight of a word when you have less space.
Right.
Um, thank you for that little detour. Um, so for folks like me who aren't familiar with curling, as I understand it, it's like shuffleboard, but on icy hills.
Well, it's not on a hill, it's on like a sheet. So it's like shuffleboard on ice with rocks. The the stone, the curling stone, that's a technical term. Some call it rocks, some call it, yeah, it's like shuffleboard.
Um, and you have to hit a target.
Yes, yes. There's a target. Center of the target is called a button. Another reason why I love curling.
That's
And
cute.
you have 4 team members or 2, depending upon, what you're doing. There, you can have 2 team members or up to 4. The captain is called the skip. and you move. It's kind of like chess too, because it's very strategic. You know, you have to get this rock down the middle into the target space. And so then the next person throws and they can knock your stone out of the target. So by the end of whoever has the most stones in the target wins. So it's very strategic, the placement of the target and physically get it
Mm.
into the target, like chess. You have to set yourself up,
And also,
be able to physically
okay.
do it too without falling on your face.
That's okay, that's really cool. That's a lot more involved than I was imagining. So thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, to just watch it, I mean, it's fun if you don't know anything, but then when you see what they're strategically doing, you're like, oh, that makes so much sense, and have to get the stone around and set up blocks. And I mean, it can become very involved. Yeah.
I love um this is just based on what you said. So I'm understanding like I could hit that button exactly, but somebody's gonna knock me off it.
Right.
So if I shift myself slightly off center, you might push me into it. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, so um so you knew you wanted to write about curling, and how did your plot develop?
Um, I think it was through the rewrites that when I first wrote the book, it was about curling. It was about this team uh, going to the championship. It was basically a sports book. And then I thought, this isn't much of a story. It's the people who are moving the story forward. So the second rewrite of the book, I focus more on the people. So it's the characters and the dialogue. And curling is just kind of now what they do in the book.
Hmm.
It's not the main focus or the storyline, it's the
Yeah.
supporting. Each of these women have their own crisis that they're dealing with. And it's in this team of support, they help each other grow and become and overcome this mountain. So sliding across is a curling term, but their mountains, their troubles. Like one woman was abused by her husband, and the other one was dealing with some health issues, and the other one was overcoming grief. Her husband was killed, and so these women were helping each other, you know, go over their mountains.
Um, that's that's really good. Just you just did a synopsis. It's like you've done this before.
A couple
Um,
of times.
now I know. Actually, would you mind giving us that little intro read so we have a little more
Oh yeah, here's the
context for you? Yes, beautiful.
thanks. Okay, so the book opens up with poems because the main character is a writer. She's a poet, and her dream is um, becoming a writer, becoming a published author. And but she kind of heals herself through writing poetry. And so the book starts off with a poem. But this is her page one. These are her words. This is how the book gets set up. Cool, crisp air slipped through a slight opening in Murphy's window. The air tickled her nose, which drew her from a sound sleep. Murphy slowly opened her eyes to enjoy the fresh breeze against her face. She inhaled the clean, deep air, while the sound of a distant hoot owl awakened her mind. Murphy stretched, then relaxed again, still under the weight of a calico patchwork quilt that her grandmother hand sewed for her, until she heard rustling on the floor. As she ambled out of bed, her two kittens, Picasso and Monet, greeted her. They began to sing for the breakfast. Good morning, babies. Hungry? Let me grab a sweatshirt and some slippers. Okay, shh, follow me. You guys are going to wake the kids, Murphy said in whispered tones. She maneuvered down the dark hallway and descended to the back staircase, which led directly into her kitchen. She knew if she took the main staircase, she would risk waking her husband, who was still asleep on the sofa in the front sitting room. He slept, passed out, is a better and more accurate description, there most nights in front of the TV, which was just as well. She didn't want him in bed anyway. So
Beautiful. Thank
that's
you so much.
so yeah, that sets up the main character.
And that does make me want to keep going. I think there's something really, I don't know the word, like juicy about that very clearly implied conflict that I don't have more context for, you know?
Right.
Um, and I know people put so much weight on like the first sentence or the first paragraph or whatever, but um, is that where you stop? I don't stop at the first sentence. I give it at least a page,
No,
you
I
know?
mean, you need to grab them by the
Hmm.
first sentence, but you need to grab them just enough. You can't just vomit it out, you know. You need to grab them and hold them. So I think as it develops, you just can't give everything right at the beginning, because why would they want to read? Why would they want to keep going? Yeah. So the first chapter of the book is divided into four sections for each of the four characters. So it gives a glimpse of what each of the four characters are doing at that same moment. And then eventually how they meet, and that's how the story builds and how they become on this curling team.
Thank you. I love that you were like, I'm going to answer your question, and also I'm amazing. That's what I heard.
Well,
Um, okay, so you've got it's four main women.
yeah,
And obviously they're going into they each have lives. They've got this we'll call curling an inciting incident, right?
right,
For the
right,
for the
exactly.
literary language of it. Maybe not an incident, but it's the thing that brought them together, right? That's how that works.
Right.
Um, they, go through life, whatever. Uh, now how this is like a hard swerve because I didn't know how to make a segue. My apologies.
No,
How does this become Christian Lit? I know that you got the Christ Lit Book Award, which, from my understanding about that organization, is not small fries. Um, so that means it's probably Christian literature. Um,
yes,
Probably pretty good. I
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So how does this tie into faith is my first question.
Okay, well, one of the main characters is a parish nurse. So, it's a cozy novel, so it's in the upscale women's, or what do they call it? Um, literature fiction or ups. So
Women's
there's
lit,
women's lit. Yeah, that's it.
women's fiction.
Women's fiction. So there's, blood, sex, all that is not in the book. It's cozy. It's in the cozy BBC category. Yeah. So it was easy to segue into my faith in the Christian. So, since one of the women is a parish nurse, and the other two are cradle Catholics,
They're what?
that's how cradle Catholics. They've
Oh, yeah,
been
yeah. No, I do know
addicts
that term.
from
I
yeah,
self-refer that way.
you're right. So, and Murphy, her abusive husband, is not Christian, and pretty much didn't allow her to go to church. So she's really lost through this abuse, but she doesn't want the whole town to know because it's a small town in Tennessee. So she didn't want the whole town knowing what was happening. So she just kind of remained in her house, very quiet. But these other ladies who are very involved in their church, that's how they came together and helped each other over their issues. Does that make sense? I feel like I was rambling on that.
No, 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 it does. I mean, because part of it is like I don't know where that line is, you know, like a lot of the time you
Right,
hear a song that turns out it's by a Christian band, and I'm like, I don't like how do I like it surely doesn't just refer to the beliefs of the musicians if they get that title, right?
right,
Um,
right.
yeah.
Faith in this book, it's not in your face, you know, it's, and some of those books, don't resonate with me. It's like, show me what you do, don't tell me what you do,
Mhm.
faith wise. And it was kind of the back door. It's like, look, I believe this, and although I have faith, I still struggle in life. Just because I have faith doesn't mean all works perfect for me, you know. And it was through the friendship and the minor um mentions or nods to the faith that helped them um get through their thing. So, for instance, in one chapter, her husband just got done beating her. You know, she's sitting on the floor. He knocked her tooth out. She's bloody, from being abused, and she prays. And it was after that prayer, like, why am I still in this situation? Please do something. I'm at my end. And it was after that that her friends like picked her up off the floor and you know and God used them to get her into the curling tournament, get her moving forward.
I was like, I'm like about to ask questions about the plot. I'm not going to do that. We
Right.
don't we don't do spoilers here.
No,
Um,
did I give too much?
no, I was about to ask stuff. I'm not going to.
Okay, but
No, that
yes,
sounds
that's the faith. So Christ lit, because the book was published in London. My publisher sent the book to them for review, and yeah, so that's how it got there.
I think that's a good moment for me to talk about the book. Um, I will put links to where we can find and purchase the book. Uh,
Okay.
is it Austin Macaulay? Is that your publisher?
Yes.
Great. I'll make sure that that's the first link so that we love shopping direct, right?
Right.
Um,
But if you're local to the Quad Cities and want to buy local support, you know, want to support a local bookshop, it's at the Brewed Book on
I
Harrison
love
Street.
the Brewed Book. Yeah,
Yeah.
much better.
They
Thank you.
have copies of it. Yeah. If
Much.
not, it's on the,
We've got
but you
the
can
internet.
get it directly but shipping from Austin McCauley is expensive.
Oh yeah. I'll have lots of links available.
Yeah. It's on like wherever you buy books,
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble, you know.
Um, and let's go back to my notes, which for no good reason is on a different page. My apologies. Okay. So I know you are, you finished that book and you have moved on to new things. Can you tell me what you're working on now?
Yes, 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 yes. I'm in the final rewrites of I'm starting a series. Um it's Letters from Larrabee, Love from Larrabee, Kentucky is the series name. The first book is Letters from Larrabee. And I'm just about, I hope by summer I'll have it done. I hope. Mm.
How do you know it's a series?
Oh, well, it wasn't going to be. And I thought, there is so much here that that I just when I started the outlines, it just kind of it just kind of fell into place. So I know there's going to be at least three.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I feel like I would never be organized enough to to realize these are different things coming together.
Right.
Um,
And that's how it was. It's like I was writing this book, but then I had ideas about, well, when this character gets to here, and I'm like, there's too many pages. Maybe it's two. Well, then I started, through conversations, and my writing group is these girls are wonderful. They're like, I think this is a series. So if you like Jan Karen's At Home in Mitford, um, this is similar.
can you,
So
who's Jan Mitford?
Mitford, yes. Karen, well, it's Jan Karen, that's her name, At Home in Mitford.
I got all of that mixed up. Um, I'm gonna make sure, yeah, I'm just writing it down. I have learned recently it's faster to type, but I always pick up a pen instead. Um, so I have noticed a trend. You've got Tennessee and you've got Kentucky.
Yes.
Are you from the South?
No, I'm from the Quad Cities,
Okay,
but
what's oh,
but uh huge roots, family roots. My grandparents were my grandmother was from Kentucky and moved here to the Quad Cities and yeah, but I love the South.
I know it's a real identity point. That's not at all weird. I've got one of my best friends was born in Georgia and grew up in San Francisco, but you talk to her and she always says, I'm from Georgia, I'm from the South, I'm from Georgia. And a lot of that is like the culture, right? You're passing down a
Hmm.
culture. Um,
Yeah.
but I just
Yeah, she's from Kentucky, and I was raised by a Southern woman, and
yeah,
moved there for a little bit, and came back, and it's like, nope, my home is there. That's where
I,
yeah, that's
I know
me.
that feel. And it's
Yeah,
also I mean, part of it obviously is cultural, but it's really, really comforting, really romantic. Especially, I don't know, when I think about like the invite like the nature.
right,
I was trying to say environment, and then I was like, is that could mean a lot of things.
right.
Um, like I'm just now afraid of saying the
It's
word.
just the essence. They're just the essence of it. I love the Quad Cities, and I, lived here most of my life, but just the essence of the South and the culture of it. And yeah.
Well, I was thinking because I'm just afraid of saying Appalachia or Appalachia. Uh,
Right.
when I think
No,
about it,
yeah.
like these are among like the oldest pieces of nature we have access to, and that's
Right.
wild and huge.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Hmm.
that's what I think of. I think of like orange and green. I don't know.
Right. Right.
Um, cool. So it's the location is just special in your heart. Do you have
Yes.
do you have family in both of these states or from both of these states?
Um, no, I was in Tennessee for a little while. And then my grandma's from Kentucky. So um, she, in fact, in Larrabee, um, she's living in Chicago now and realizing it's a story of authenticity. Of she's in this big high job in Chicago, and she realizes, she has everything, but she realizes she doesn't have happiness, and she looked to find her roots. And she spent the summers with her grandparents in Kentucky, and they ran a horse farm. He was a farrier. So while her parents were busy doing their jobs in Chicago, she would spend summers with horses and on a farm. And she realizes that that was more a part of her than her high society job in Chicago. So it's looking at going inside and looking deeply, you know, who am I? I kind of lost it along the way. And yeah,
I know it's
she,
not. Oh, go ahead.
no. And then she travels back there and realizes, wow, I didn't realize how much a part of this space and the green and the horses and the sounds and the smells and all of that just kind of ignite her spirit.
I oh no, lost what I was gonna say. Oh, I remembered. I know that's not like an uncommon theme, but the reason I think it's such a special theme, the lost and found identity, is because it's something that we have to interact with over and over again as we fall into patterns. And
Oh, yeah.
we may have chosen this life at one point, but maybe the terms and conditions have changed, or we haven't
Right.
checked in on how it fits us. And I think that's always going to be a really, really powerful theme in any story. But I think of
Yeah.
literature first.
Yeah. That's this first book. And then as the series continues, she's in the small town. So it was like following, as Jan Karen did, follow the characters in this little town and what happens. And, there's a mystery there. It's just, developing the characters.
I know I'm hopping all over the place. It's because I try to ask the relevant questions when they're
Right?
relevant. But I did mean to ask, how does your faith impact your writing?
Oh, it's important. It's so important because it's such a part of me that I think authors need to write what they know and write what they believe because a good reader can totally tell if they're not being authentic.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's just clear as day.
Oh yeah. It's like they're trying to write something they know nothing about. Yeah. And at that 55 mark that I hit, I'm like, this is me. I finally found my voice and this is what I'm going with.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
So anyway, that was a decision I made. And
I, you know,
um,
I've been using the word faith. I I didn't choose the word that was coming out. I didn't say like I don't know, there are a lot of words you can use. And I was going to say
right,
that that's not a central part of my life, but the word faith is actually very vague.
right.
Um,
It's not a Catholic book. I mean, I'm Catholic, but it's not if you're not Catholic, you won't get it. It's faith-based. You have religion on one hand and faith on the other hand. You know.
yeah, yeah.
And in a perfect world, they come together very nicely. But those, if you're not of faith, you would still,
Well,
if you
that's
don't know all the Catholic traditions, but you are
no one
faithful and
does.
right, right. There's so many. Um, but if you're faithful and or even not, and or are looking toward that, there's still something, because it doesn't matter if you're Baptist or Lutheran or whatever, Catholic, and or without religion at all, you still have a belief
That's
if
that's
you
where
do.
I was headed. I was like, I certainly have faith in things. I
Right,
certainly have beliefs and have real strong ones. Uh,
right.
a moral compass and a way that I live my life. I've never personally been deterred by labels about religion or whatever. And there are so many religions. Just
Oh,
clear,
right, right.
clear that.
And this is,
Um,
yeah, this is a book about um um faith. I mean, and it's not really, it's the yes, faith is a part of it, you know. Um, but it's digging deep, soul searching. Um, and for this character, faith is um, a part of it.
Yeah, no, I was thinking a lot of the times when we hear the term it's Christian lit or it's a faith-based noun. Um I think we think that it's going to be sort of like trying to lure us or
Oh,
indoctrinate. And I have no, don't worry, I have
right,
no illusions about that. And I wanted to sort of clear that up
right,
that I think specifically using the word faith, which you did and I did, but thoughtlessly, um, is really important because it's my interpretation in with your book in mind, not like the
right,
whole world.
right,
That this is about what keeps us on this side of the line. Uh,
right.
and
And I really didn't want to write about sex and drugs and that's not me. I mean, not that, I mean, I just didn't want to go. I didn't think I could write in the R-rated genres, you know, the steamy romance, you know.
I recently, well, I'm just gonna keep this really vague. I had pitched a romance workshop at the writing center.
Right,
Um for someone else to teach. It's
right,
not something I'm comfortable, like I'm blushing already talking about it.
right, right,
Not for me. Um
right. Oh, I love the books, but I couldn't write them.
uh right, this is like, yeah, not I
Right.
can't even always say the words aloud. Um but it is still so important that they exist. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. I just, as my authentic voice, I couldn't write it and do it justice.
I'm trying to imagine myself doing it. That's what made me laugh just then. I was like, and then they kissed. Like I don't
And
nothing.
they held hands, and oh, how lovely.
I'm a real hard fade to black. Once they hold hands, it's over.
Right.
Um, I love that you said you couldn't write R-rated. I feel like I could write R-rated, but only because I swear so much, not
Right.
well, thank you for taking that little detour with me. I was really excited
Oh,
to talk about the way that
nice.
I imagine faith working, because I, I've met you before, so I feel like
Right.
there's no I'm not at all worried about indoctrination or whatever. I know
No,
that
yeah,
sometimes people
no,
get
it's
scared.
not about that. And I think the Chrysler Book Award, um, it's a nod to it's not they were never wanting to indoctrinate anyone. Um it's a there aren't even Bible verses in the book, but it's a mention of God, and it was through this friendship and through prayer. I think that's what it is. And the prayer you can whatever religion you're in, prayer works, you know. And and they felt it was, to choose my book. So,
And
which is
that's not I already said this, but like that's not a small that's like a kind of a big deal. There's a lot of there's a lot of writing out there in the world.
right.
So
I
I
was
just
just
want to give
honored.
you
I mean,
some.
I knew when I became a finalist, they contacted me. And then I was like, oh, but these books have so much, you look at the other books that you're and the other writers, and when they chose mine, it was just such an honor. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, that's what I was trying to say.
nice.
Like it's a congratulations is what I'm trying to
Thank
say.
you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the book was out. It was released March 1st of 2024. So, and I just won this award February this year. So it was almost a year since book's been released when I won it. Yeah.
I'm gonna try and I'm really bad at watching the time. So I'm hoping it hasn't been too long or too short. But
No,
I'm gonna
it's
try
we're
and
right at I think an hour.
thank you. I'm gonna try to tie up a little bit with for folks who are working on their novels or imagining their novels. Do you have any advice for them?
Oh, I think I've said this before. You have to write what you know, and you have to write what you love. Because if you don't love it, it's not worth it. You have to, um, because readers, gosh, they can read in between those breast spaces. It's all in there.
I
You have to write what you feel authentic about.
I think about when we I know I'm like and now I'm gonna keep talking. Um when we talk about readers, I think sometimes we forget that we ourselves are readers because I'll say all the time, you gotta trust the reader or you know, you said, right, the reader can tell. And I think a really easy way to keep that in mind or to to answer to that when it becomes a question is to notice yourself if you would pick up on the clues or if you would notice the inauthenticity, because you're a reader too, and if you
Oh
can
yeah.
see it now as a writer, you'll probably be able to see it on the other side as a reader. And something I've noticed many times in talking to writers and in writing myself, um, like it's also like if you're bored writing it, the reader is bored reading it.
Yes. And I guess you said it so much better than I did. That's exactly what it is. If you hate it, there's that energy that goes into it. I mean, it's when you pick up a book, you can feel the energy of the author. It's there. They put so much time and their whole selves into writing this. If it's a poem or a novel or, a chapbook or whatever it is, it's so much of yourself has to be in there. It has to be raw for it to be any good. I mean, they can tell if it's superficial, if you, um, so I think my advice is like really look at the characters and if you have characters in your art, um, round them out, you know, get a get a spreadsheet. What color hair do they have? Picture them, picture these people, picture these characters as people and just write um what makes your heart sing because if you're excited about it, that energy is going to go into your book.
I'm writing like you're speaking so beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
So just uh sorry for the lull.
No, it's good, but
This seems like a good time to I can't talk and write at the same time. Um, to note, we had a video a few months ago, an interview I did here, on something called The Holy Grail. That was the name of it, per the writer who presented it. So maybe I'll try and link to that video too, where it's like how to keep track of those things if you are inclined to be organized. I'm laughing because I realized that I went probably 100 pages of writing in a fingers crossed novel. And
yay.
I was going back and I was like, what is this character's name? I had never named the character.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I
Yes.
had just
Yes,
referred to
I've
them
done that
as their
so
haircut the whole time.
right, right. I've done so much of that and I use a recipe. This is old school. I use a recipe box, like a recipe cards.
I- oh my
So,
gosh, that's
yeah,
so
so
you.
So I went to Hobby Lobby and got the cutest little recipe card box with pretty little note cards
Hmm.
and name the characters. And so I have, how they have the sections, just like a
Hmm.
five, the sections, characters, name one, places, name. So the book I'm writing now, I couldn't for the life of me remember what floor she lived on because she's in this tall apartment building. And I'm like, was it the 32nd floor? What was her apartment number? What was her, and I couldn't remember these like silly details. So I really had to go back and those details are important and people will pick that out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And and then there's this little dog in the book that I'm writing. And I saw it in my head, right? This dog as
Hmm.
one of the characters, little pup. And I'm like, but I don't know what breed of dog it is. I have no idea, but I see it in my head. And then I was watching the Westminster Dog Show, right? And I'm like, oh my God, that's it. That's the dog. So went back and researched it, and sure enough, it looks just like the dog that was in my head.
Amazing. That's amazing. I did that the other day. My spouse's mom used to breed and compete in dog shows.
Right,
Breed dogs and compete in dog shows. I don't know how
right,
you breed a show. And I was like, "Hey, what's a little fluffy white dog?"
right,
And
right.
actually, it was not my spouse that answered. It was my roommate. So then I was like, "Okay, is that it?" And I looked it up, and well, it was. I just like that we had that together. Um, okay, I'm really interested in this, and I should probably just save this till we're not recording.
Okay,
But I think the recipe box is brilliant. Now, I do something, and I've talked about it in a video here before. But it's something I call a seed journal, and I thought that was a thing, and I may have invented it. That's fine. But what it
really?
is like got different sections of a notebook for like different pieces of inspiration or like just notes that you want to hold on to, or I wrote a really good line and I had to cut it. And I think that the recipe box could be really brilliant for that too, because you're flipping through. You don't have to like
Right.
read the page and turn the like something about it being in a notebook is a little more taxing, I
Mm.
think. But also your recipe box is your holy grail. I'm just gonna keep using the terms that I've been using.
Oh, yeah,
Is
absolutely.
is also genius for the same reason. You don't have to I feel like it's less reading somehow, like having bullet points instead of text.
Right.
So I
Because
love
you can run through it fast. It's like a Rolodex.
yeah. That was the first thought I had. I was like, I could use Rolodex, and then I was like, I don't have a Rolodex.
Yeah, do they even make them anymore? I don't know.
Probably not. I was my folks just moved and I found my dad had one of those circle ones.
Right?
I was like, I should take this. And then I was like, for what? Now I know for what.
Now you know. But
Uh,
it's all about pretty. So, I had to get the pretty one.
oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's got to be wooden. We've got to have some, I think, pastels. Um,
Yeah, floral. Yeah.
so I would love to, and you're on camera, so you have to agree. Talk
Oh,
about that with you sometime. If you could do like an instructional,
oh
uh,
yeah,
that would
absolutely.
be so cool. Oh man, that would be so cool.
Certainly.
I am I'm jazzed about anything. And this is like maybe I have too much confidence in myself, but I'm really jazzed about anything that like makes the process a little more streamlined. Because I want to say like I love organization and sometimes I'm organizing because I'm procrastinating. Um, but
No, but
it,
work
it's
smarter,
streamlined.
not harder.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna keep you at this word I
Oh,
coerced you
I'm down for it.
into.
I'm down
Uh,
for it.
oh my God, so exciting. I'm so happy this came up. Um, and I'm really gonna let you go. So, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, Trisha, and
Oh,
for
thank
all of our
you.
beautiful viewers who are hanging out with us as well. Now is the part where I give updates on the Midwest Writing Center. Oh my gosh, I thought I didn't bring my planner with me, but I did, so I don't have to make up what I when I think things are happening. So let's hop to okay. Um, what is happening this week? Um, This Saturday, two things are going on this Saturday. We have the final workshop in the fiction series, so you can still sign up for this. Um, it's from 10:30 a.m. to noon at the Midwest Writing Center with Jason Tanamore, who is a prolific and gifted novelist and teacher. This last one is on action and character, how they interact, how they keep the story moving, and how and when motion can be really impactful in your writing. That's $30 for members, 40 for non-members. And again, that is at the Midwest Writing Center. Then, right after that is the Iron Pen Awards ceremony and reading, which is in the community room at the Rock Island Public Library. So, second floor, if you go to that fiction workshop, you'll just take the elevator up. Um, and that is totally free to come to. Our featured readers will be the winners in each category, fiction, nonfiction, and poetry. And um, other folks who participated are welcome to participate in the reading. And we will make sure that our friends from far away who have participated and placed in the contest will be able to read as well. I'll be on the computer for that to make sure y'all are included. Um, Most excitingly, sorry, amazing writers, this is more exciting to me. We will be drawing the winner. So anyone who registered for the Iron Pen contest, even if you didn't submit your work in the end, is entered to win full tuition to the Collins Writers Conference this summer. And we'll be drawing that winner right there at the reading. You don't have to be in attendance to win, but it's cooler to be in attendance. We have not yet announced the faculty for this year's Collins Writers Conference, but I can tell you it is June 26, 27, and 28, and it's our 20th anniversary of the conference in its current.
Oh,
So it's going to be phenomenal. Ryan and I are both like really nostalgic and really excited, and we're getting um I'm trying not to have any spoilers. We're going with our most exciting classic type situation. We're gonna have lots of celebrations because it's also the 20th anniversary of the Young Emerging Writers Internship, which does not at all make either of us feel old. Uh, so yeah, if you've got any teens in your life or you are one 15 to 19 years old in the general Quad City area, please apply for that. That is a paid internship where we teach and learn and discuss literature, writing, reading, revision, design, and publishing. You end up published, you design a magazine, you get to know writers who are in your same interests and same age group. It's really, really, really wonderful opportunity. I can say 100% it is life-changing as someone who maybe did it in the early days and is a real big girl writer now. Um, yeah, so that's something you should let folks know about. It's really, really special opportunity. Also, how many paid internships are there out there that also let you write and publish? None. It's none. Um, so next week, next Tuesday, March 25th, we're premiering our writer regroup group. That'll be at the Atlas Collective from 12 to 2 p.m. I'm going to be there. I'll have a little sign that says Midwest Writing Center, and you can come and hang out with me, and we'll just write. If you want to talk about just a little bit of chatter, some people really need quiet. You want to talk about like you're having trouble with your work, or you want to know more about the Writing Center. I'm here. I'll be there for it. We'll have more dates for that coming up. So that'll include there's one at the Brewed Book on April 10th, and there's one at the Midwest Writing Center on ooh, April 22nd. Um, we've got a couple more really exciting April things that I'm going to get into, and then I'll leave you be. This one is special personal to me, especially if you watch this web series, Right More Light. You may have seen my interview with Tatiana Schlote Bonet, the horror author of Such Lovely Skin and The Mean Ones. She's going to be at the Atlas Collective on April 3rd, and I get to be her in conversation partner. So she'll do a reading and a signing, but then I get to ask her probing questions. So I'm super excited about that. We will also be at Mission Creek, both at the Lit Crawl on Friday night and at the book fair, obviously on Saturday. So those are really cool, neato things. And I haven't even finished where I was going in April. So we also have Elizabeth Willis, National Book Award finalist and Pulitzer runner-up in poetry, will be our next reader at the Spectre reading series on April 10th. No big deal. It's a really big deal. It's a really big deal. And then we've got two online workshops in April, and I will drop it after that. Um, Anais Cass, author of Reparations of the Heart, will be teaching a class online April 12th, from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. Called Transmissions from the Ancestors. She uses the practices that she employed to put together her book to help you write with your cultural lineage, your family history in mind, and to really channel the work that you want to get out. Really, yeah, really get in touch with that core part of yourself. And then April 16th is the reading for the Being Human in the Age of AI anthology, and that's at Galvin Fine Arts Center at St. Ambrose. And again, one more thing, April 26th, we've got a workshop called Writing Fear, which is creating protagonists and their antagonists with who else? Tatiana Schletti Bonet. That is also 11 to 1, Saturday the 26th. I made it. I did it. It's done. I've said all the things. So please, like, follow, subscribe to our newsletter, etc. Um, um,
That was a lot.
it's so much. I feel like I don't breathe when I do that. 'Cause I'm like,
Good
if I
job.
stop talking, I'll lose my place. Um, Now I'm going to leave all of you wonderful people with a prompt. The prompt is, oh my God, where did I write it down? In my notes. It's in my notes. Um, the prompt is based on sliding across mountains. And so special thanks to Trisha for being here again, but also for inspiring the prompt. And the prompt is just a sentence. So take it however, not even a sentence, a fragment. Take it however works for you. If you end up journaling on the topic, cool. If you write a list, if you write a poem, if you write a short story, if you write a novel, however the writing comes out is however the writing comes out. Set yourself a timer for however much time you have, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just write. The prompt is, I'll say it twice, working toward a target. That is working toward a target. Thank you for hanging out with us today. As always, please write more light into your life.